If you feel that your observability data is growing and growing, yet you don't get value out of all this data, and your engineers tell you yet another thing you want me to take care of, then this video is for you. Today I'm talking about some of the lessons learned on my recent trips where I engaged with organizations that are feeling the same pain, and I want to give you some advice on how I see that you can provide observability as a self-service, as part of your platform engineering strategy to really get value out of your observability investment. Now what you see here is a first step. It is a Dynatrace Launchpad, and actually let me make this a little bit bigger here. Here we go. So the first thing I always advise for is if you're asking your engineers to look into your observability platform like Dynatrace, then give them an easy to consume customized view that gives them everything they need. In my case, I have a Launchpad that provides all the links my engineers need, like Backstage, maybe Git, maybe Argo, right? I provide them all the links that they need for the day-to-day work. Now, from an observability perspective, they may need the Kubernetes overview. Maybe they need some logs. Maybe they need to see distributed traces or an overview of the services. They don't need everything else that Dynatrace has to offer, but I want to give them a personalized experience. All right. So this is the first thing. Provide a customized Launchpad. We call it Launchpads in Dynatrace for your engineers. Now let's go a little step further. Backstage. I have worked with a lot of folks over the last couple of weeks, whether it's Backstage, Cortex, Kratix, Humanitec. There's many of these development portal providers out there. In my demos, I typically use Backstage also because I'm a CNCF ambassador and I'm heavily promoting CNCF technology. Now, my biggest point was the service catalog feature of all of these portals are really great. So for instance, here I have my team 01. This is team Andy. So this is my component that I'm responsible for. Backstage gives me an immediate link to my source code, and it also gives me immediate access, for instance, to my CI/CD. When it comes to observability, I want to scroll a little bit further down because this is where I believe you can make a big impact. Now, as an engineer, I need observability, but I don't want to find and search for observability. I want the observability data to come to me. So what you see here is the Dynatrace integration into Backstage, where it says my Kubernetes deployments. With a single click, or let's say that way, I get a single overview that says where is my current workload deployed? Are there any problems? Are there any vulnerabilities? And with a single click, I get to my workload in Dynatrace. So a single click, a new window opens up, and here is all of my data in Dynatrace. My key metrics, my additional information, all of my metadata, also access to logs, so logs in context. I don't need to search for the logs are right here. Any type of events that I may have, problems, vulnerabilities, and also any type of additional telemetry data if I have so, right? So a key point is making it easy to find the observability data. Another thing, many engineers obviously know logs. They have written logs for all of their life. Now what I'm saying is bring the relevant logs to them and don't ask engineers to find the logs that are important. So here I am ingesting or I'm showing the latest logs. You can define any type of DQL query that can provide the latest critical logs, any new logging patterns. You are the experts, and you can now bring the relevant data to the engineers. Now, last thing here is, you can see here, Dynatrace validations. We've been promoting scorecarding in Dynatrace using the Site Reliability Guardian. So the way I've set this up here is every time as an engineer, I deploy a new build. It seems I had build 44, then I jumped to 46. I always, for every build, get two scores. One is the observability score and one is a team-specific guardian. It seems I'm always good on the observability score. That's great. That's pass. But I'm failing on my team guardian. So what I just opened is the details on, hey, it seems that after every deployment, I automatically get validated whether we are capturing logs, looks good, capturing transactions, looks good, our synthetic tests are properly set up, so I'm following best practices, and I have no vulnerabilities. That's great, but I also have my team-specific guardian. So the team-specific guardian is, if I own a certain component, I know what is important for me. What are good health indicators? Which logs don't I want to see? Which metrics should be within a certain range? And what type of events do I expect? So here I have a team-specific guardian, and you can see here I have I have 5 individual results here. I can also switch between the x-axis as a date to the version. So now I can see with every deployment that I've done, kind of what is the result. And it seems I have a problem here on service performance. I can also scroll down. So here are specific objectives that I've set. It seems we're failing on service performance because I specified that I want at least 200 milliseconds of performance, of response time. And all of this is automatically analyzed, and it's automatically pushed back to me in Backstage, in my IDP. Now, as I said, you can do this with Port, you can do this with Cortex, with Kratix, or anything that is homegrown. I'm bringing the relevant data back to the engineers. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you, because as engineers, I hope that most of the time of engineers is spent in coding. So if I am an engineer and I make code changes, where do I do this? Well, I make this in my IDE. I open up a pull request or a merge request, I make changes, and then really what I'm expecting as an engineer, I want to get the data in where I spend most of my time. I don't want my flow to be interrupted. So when you make changes like this, I'm expecting the data, the feedback, the observability data in context. You can see here in my pull request, I automatically get a notification from Dynatrace that my scorecard is not good. My guardian failed. And again, with a single click, I get to the details. Now I'm back at the same guardian that I showed you earlier. But my message is, make sure that you're bringing the relevant data to where your engineers are, and don't ask your engineers to learn yet another tool, be overwhelmed with too much data that they now need to analyze. And I think if you do that, bringing me back to the big screen, I think if you do that, if you are sitting down with your engineers, try to figure out where they are spending most of their day, where they are in their flow, then try to figure out what is the relevant observability data that they need in their portal, in Git, in their IDE, in Jira, in your messaging. And then bring the data to them and not just overwhelm them with data. Use the automation capabilities in Dynatrace to automatically analyze your scorecards, detect the top most exceptions that came in, the top database calls, and push this data to the engineers where they are so that they don't feel overwhelmed with learning yet another tool and having to analyze observability, but make the information, actionable information, come to them. And I think with this, you can really get the value out of observability by providing observability as a self-service, right? If I go back to my initial screen, observability as a self-service is really what you should strive for, and baking this into a modern platform is exactly what you should do. There will be more from me later on. Bye-bye.